So here's another video response to Cristina. I figured I may as well do this since this is about a topic that I've considered chatting about before, so let's do this. But before I get into that, the first I'd say about a good 14 to 15 minutes of her video revolves around Elliot Rodger, and I'm going to completely skip all of that because it's not important. Also because I have several videos revolving around my opinion on what happened with Elliot Rodger. Cristina goes on to talk about bullying, which is going to be the focus of today's video because I think this is a very important thing to be chatted about. That being said, take us away.
And there is one more thing in Jaclyn's video that I just have to respond to. This is gonna be such a long video.
It reminds me a lot of all the anti-bullying campaigns that go on, and that's great because bullying is a problem just like misogyny is a problem. But the problem that people have with this is they try to fix the bullies. And as much as you try, it's not ever going to work completely. What you have to do is you have to target the kids who are being bullied and teach them to stand up for themselves. Don't teach them to be afraid, teach them to fight against it.
This might come to a shock to some of you, but I'm gonna say it, but I agree with Jaclyn Glenn. It hurt to say that. The pain. It's excruciating. The asterisks aside, yes, I completely agree with Jaclyn Glenn. She's absolutely right. The only way you're really ever going to stop bullying is if you teach the people who are being bullied to stand up against the bullshit. Go ahead, Cristina.
This was what you said in your first video, and in your second video you're responding to Mr. Epsion about it, and I'm gonna play a bit of that too.
What you have to do is you have to target the kids who are being bullied and teach them to stand up for themselves.
Just stand up for yourself. Grow some balls. No, that mentality, Jaclyn, is not a solution.
No, yes, it is. And you are weak sauce, Mr. Epsion, if you do not think that that is the solution to bullying.
Telling someone just to stand up for yourself for being bullied is not a solution to the issue of bullying.
Oh, so I said bullying was a problem, and that these campaigns are great. I'm sorry, I thought I heard differently.
Now, while you do admit that bullying is a problem, can anyone deny that really?
Well, I mean, there are people who deny the Holocaust. I guess those people think that Anne Frank's diary was her creative writing project.
You said that a solution to the problem would be to target the victims and teach them to fight against it and stand up for themselves. You explained your reasons for saying that, however, you're not really giving any suggestions as to how do we do that.
Then allow me. If you are a young person and you're being bullied, it helps to identify your adversary. After all, if you do not know your enemy, you have no business being on the battlefield, right? Now, if you are dealing with someone who calls you mean names a lot, ignore it. The only reason that they call you mean names is because they're not content with themselves. They're trying to feel better about themselves. And they're trying to hurt you. They're projecting the way they feel about themselves onto you. Remember this, my friends. I'm not going to tell you that whole sticks and stone things. I'm going to tell you this. If someone calls you a mean name, you need to remember and understand that it is not an accurate reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. Okay, just keep that in mind. If you're dealing with someone who attacks you in a group setting and they like to put their hands on you, like they rough you up or they push you or they punch you, that person is a coward. And the only way you're going to get that person to stop messing with you is to fight back. Bullying is really a game of psychology. You know, these guys are really sadistic in the sense that they want to hurt you physically, although some do. It's really they want to project the way they feel onto you. And they do that because you don't fight back. That's the whole reason why they do it. They don't pick on people their own size, hence the cliched phrase. Actually, it's not cliche, it's just true. I mean, they don't pick on people that they think are going to fight back. Remember, when you're dealing with a bully, you don't ever actually have to beat them. You just have to stand up. You just have to show them they can't mess with you. That's it. And eventually, they're going to leave you alone.
There are other ways to fight against bullying, and one of those is empowering the victims, and that is in no way belittling them.
I'm sorry, but how exactly do you empower a kid and teach him to stand up for himself while he's having his head shoved down the toilet by like 3 other kids twice as big as he is?
Well, I mean, I don't imagine that they're going to be I don't imagine they're gonna drown the fucker, right? Eventually they're going to stop and leave him alone. And even then, I imagine if they're not trying to kill him, they're gonna stop eventually. And so once they stop, then you impart the knowledge onto him. But again, if you have a bunch of kids, pushing him into the fucking toilet, if it's a group of them, then again, we've established he's a coward. And all you have to do is flail around and just fight back. The whole reason they are attacking you is because you don't fight back. You fight back, they're gonna leave you alone. They might even respect you.
I mean, we are talking reality here and not Karate Kid.
Yes, you've never heard of Wing Chun, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or Ninjutsu.
Now, what I think should happen, I think everybody should target the parents, to target the schools, to target the bullies.
¿Por qué no los dos?
What? First of all, I think schools should have regulations that prepare kids for the real world. In the real world, stealing from people is punishable by law, so if you steal another kid's lunch money, there should be a punishment for that.
There are. It's called detention, or suspension, or expulsion. I mean, there are consequences for that. Your solution's already in play, and we still have these problems. Go figure.
In the real world, throwing a rock at somebody, that can get you charged with assault. Beating somebody up, that's battery. One way to fix the bully is by implementing and enforcing rules that make it hard for the bully to victimize somebody and get away with it.
Yeah, except see, here's the thing about all of that. You see, the whole reason why these bullies, and criminals for that matter, break the rules of the law is because they don't think they're going to get caught. You see, rules and laws only work as deterrents for good people, people who don't want to hurt other individuals. To someone that doesn't think they're going to get caught, a law and the consequences have no bearing on these people. And for people who just don't care, i.e. sociopaths and psychopaths, they really don't have any bearing. In fact, creating a whole bunch of rules and law only subjugate the people who are going to follow and obey them, which would be the good kids who are getting bullied. Excuse me. If you create too many rules to try to bottleneck and force people to not be bullies, then you could actually end up creating a whole bunch of really weak people who then use the fucking rules and laws themselves to bully other people, and then you just have a whole clusterfuck of a problem. I mean, the men's rights movement, in case you need an example of what happens when you put too many laws that pander to one gender over the other. Keep going.
Schools shouldn't turn a blind eye to bullying just because the bully happens to be a good athlete or in other ways improves the school image. Or maybe because a bullying track record would look bad for the school. Or maybe the parents are big donors. And
if the school is truly that corrupted, then I say kick the fucking bully's ass. Fight against them. If the school is really going to miss bully charges because the guy's really popular, their corruption is blatant and right in your face. So by all means, fight them. And I'm not trying to incite violence, but I am trying to incite self-respect. All you have to do is stand up to them. You don't ever actually have to win. I'm just saying.
Parents should put pressure on the schools to admit when there is a bullying problem and try to rectify it, even if it's not your kid who's the victim. On this note, I think we should teach kids to stand up for others and not just themselves.
It's not going to work. At all. If you get another kid to stand up for a kid who's getting bullied, all the bully has to do is isolate the one kid who's still getting bullied. Again, the bullies only do these things because they don't think you'll fight back. They're cowards. It's a game of psychology. It's not a game of might.
Bullying often happens while a crowd is watching and nobody does anything to help the victim. It's the bystander effect.
Which again shows the nature of the bully is cowardice. In fact, if there's a group of people around, then he's really going to try to show off, right? And that's really the time for you to stand up and fight against them. Again, you don't have to win. You just have to fight back. That's all you have to do is just flail. Just attack them. Punch them in the nose. As incredible as the trained human body can be, the untrained human body is riddled with a bunch of weaknesses that you can exploit. It might take a little effort, but it's going to help you out in the long run, so...
Which sometimes is encouraged by the parents. Don't get involved or you might get hurt too. And on top of that, there's also this spirit of camaraderie between school peers because the teachers are the authority, they're basically the enemy. If you say anything to the teachers, then you're a snitch and that's bad. So I think it's really important we teach these kids that yes, camaraderie is a nice thing to be part of, but not when abuse is involved. And by the way, I'm not saying tell them to intervene every single time they see bullying occur, no matter what. If there is a situation when they see somebody being bullied and they cannot intervene neither physically nor even verbally without fear of becoming like targets themselves, then they should at least report it. They should report an injustice when they see it, even if another kid is the victim.
Again, people who find themselves to be reasonable would probably say,
¿Por qué no las dos?
Saying we need to target the victims of bullying and teach them to stand up for themselves may sound nice.
it may sound like a reasonable solution.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't even sound that nice to me, but it may sound nice to you. However, unless that's your child, what control do you even have? Maybe this is a kid whose parents are junkies and they're never around to teach him anything. Or maybe this is a kid who's already abused at home. How the hell can he cope with bullying at school on top of that?
And now we get into what I like to call arguing particular circumstances. Basically, this is a point in argument where people will bring up specific examples of something in order to refute the original argument or the premise. There might already be a logical fallacy for that, but I mean, I'm calling it argument from a particular circumstance. And the reason why I say that is because it's a particular circumstance, it requires a specific solution to the problem. I mean, again, if you want to deal with macro problems, you employ macro solutions, and then you employ specific solutions to different problems. I mean, a kid who's getting bullied at home is probably the reason why he's a bully at school in the first place. For example, I mean, I know it's a piece of literature or fiction, but Flash Thompson in the Spider-Man comic books bullied Peter Parker because his dad abused him at home. A lot of the times these bullies are bullies because they're getting hurt. In fact, one solution to bullying could probably, it may not always work, but it is worth a shot. I mean, if you want to solve the problem, it's worth a shot. But it's actually trying to befriend the person who's picking on you all the time. You may find out that you actually have a lot more in common with them than you thought. I mean, it's just an option.
The way you empower victims of bullying is by taking the power away from the bullies.
I really hate this whole empowerment thing. I don't think you should empower victims. I think you should give them reasonable life skills. The life skills of standing up for the way you feel are going to translate into things that are going to make them ultimately stronger and better in the end. You want to know the whole reason why people can say mean things to me on the internet? It is because literally since the time I was 5 years old, people have been making fun of me and beating me up and attacking me. Yes, I was a victim of being bullied. The whole reason why I am able to take such criticism and the whole reason I'm able to face down injustice and bullshit is because I myself have dealt with it. In all honesty, I think everybody should be bullied to a certain degree. Not to the point where they can't take it or can't cope with it like the whole world is against them. I'm not talking about that. What I am saying is that everybody needs an adversary, someone that is going to pick on them, someone that they are going to have to learn to stand up against. Because when you learn the important life skills of standing up against the bully, you learn two very important things. You learn empathy. And if you truly internalize and heal from the damage, then you learn that you don't want other people to feel that way. And two, you learn how to stand up for what you believe in. You learn problem-solving skills as well. You learn how to deal with confrontation correctly when you have to face down people who don't like you or who insult you. Bullies do a lot for the world when people heal from negative experiences. If you don't heal, then you never obtain the benefits of going through bad things. And I'm just probably going to have to make a whole entire video on that. So, Cristina, wrap us up.
I mean, we should at least do that in schools, right? Right? I think I'm done. This really wasn't a very fun video to make. And Jaclyn, I really hope no hard feelings. This wasn't meant as an attack against you.
This video was not meant as a defense for you, Jaclyn. I just want you to know that.
We just happened to tackle two subjects that I feel really strongly about, and that's mental illness and bullying in the same video. And that's why I responded. Otherwise, I swear to God, I would not have made a video about Elliot Rodger. Fucking Elliot Rodger. Fuck!
Well, that's the end of her video and subsequently the end of mine. Again, if you guys want to go watch her first 15 to 16 minutes of her talking about Elliot Rodger, by all means go ahead. I mean, she's absolutely wrong and shows zero empathy for the guy, but I mean, again, you can do whatever you want at this point. I mean, the video's over. So, yeah. With that being said, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, have a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.